Starfleet did not attempt to remake Star Trek Discovery's spore drive in Star Trek, the original series, or Star Trek, the Next Generation's eras. Star Trek Discovery Season 1, which was set in 2256 to 2257, introduced the displacement-activated spore hub drive, or spore drive for short. Discovery's revolutionary spore drive was the series' big idea, which was a significant leap forward as a Star Trek technology. The spore drive allowed the USS Discovery to instantaneously travel through the mycelial network so that the starship essentially teleports to its destination. But why did Starfleet limit the spore drive to the USS Discovery? Star Trek Discovery's spore drive was controversial because it was canon-breaking technology far more advanced than anything seen in Star Trek, the original series, which takes place a decade later. Nor is a spore drive an instantaneous starship teleportation seen in Star Trek, the Next Generation's 24th century era. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 solved these grievances by making the spore drive part of an overall crisis surrounding the very existence of the USS Discovery. After Discovery merged with a 100,000-year-old sphere and its data was uploaded into Disco's computers, the starship became the target of a rogue AI called Control. With the sphere data, Control could become fully sentient and wipe out all organic life in the galaxy. At the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, the combined forces of the USS Discovery, the USS Enterprise, and their allies, including the Kelpines, destroyed Control, Section 31's Genocidal Threat Assessment AI. However, in order to prevent another Control from becoming online and sentient, Discovery, its sphere data, and its spore drive had to be removed from the 23rd century. To safeguard the galaxy, Commander Michael Burnham, Sonequa Martin Green, led the USS Discovery on a permanent, one-way trip 930 years into the 32nd century. In the real world, this was also Star Trek Discovery's solution to the problem of the starship being too technologically advanced for Star Trek's 23rd century. In the distant future, Discovery could set Star Trek canon instead of defy it. Once the USS Discovery was no longer in the 23rd century, Captain Christopher Pike, Anson Mount, and Lieutenant Spock, Ethan Peck, of the USS Enterprise reported to Starfleet that Discovery was destroyed and all hands lost. Further, Spock redacted the USS Discovery from Starfleet records to protect Michael Burnham, his adopted sister. The USS Discovery's spore drive technology was redacted along with the starship's record so that Starfleet could not build another. As time passed and Starfleet continued to rely on standard warp drive, knowledge of the USS Discovery and its spore drive was simply forgotten by the 24th century. The USS Discovery's spore displacement hub drive was also dangerous technology that required a specialized navigator for it to work. In Star Trek Discovery Season 1, 2 Crossfield-class starships experimented with spore drive technology. The USS Glenn attempted a spore drive jump through the mycelial network that killed everyone aboard. However, the Glenn had a giant tardigrade that was brought aboard the USS Discovery, and the crew soon deduced that the tardigrade named Ripper could serve as the spore drive's navigator. Unfortunately, the tardigrade was debilitated by interfacing with the spore drive, so Discovery's crew released it back into space. Lieutenant Paul Stamets, Anthony Rapp, injected himself with tardigrade DNA and augmented himself to become the USS Discovery's spore drive navigator. In Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Cleveland Booker, David Ajala, learned his Quagian DNA and empathic abilities also let him serve as the spore drive's navigator. However, the genetic manipulation Stamets underwent is illegal in the United Federation of Planets. Since tardigrade DNA was a requirement to safely interface with the spore drive, it was logical for Starfleet to abandon the technology, which would be impossible to replicate on other starships.